So let's get right into it, shall we? Disappearing acts. Why do men and women dip without conversation and without warning? Well, I thought about this and I said, well, the first way to figure out why people do that is to look at myself and figure out why I do it. Or have I done it before? And the answer is absolutely yes, I have done it. One of the reasons why I've dipped or disappeared is fear. I'm triggered, or I may not be interested, or I may be afraid to speak my truth. Now, these days, it's not something I practice so much. I can't even remember the last time that I've done that. I typically am gonna have some sort of conversation, and in those areas, if somebody's out there and they're like, you didn't deal with me, well, I'm still growing. I'm just saying. But generally speaking, my why for doing it had nothing to do with the person per se. Now, I know we like to say that, and it's sort of like you're not being completely honest with the other person to say there's some things you may not have liked about them. But what I mean is, it's not the other person in the sense of if I have fear and if I'm triggered and if I have something that I have unsettled, it's really not on that person. That person is sort of just being used as a great, wonderful tool to help me grow. However, when it's happening, it doesn't feel that logical. It doesn't feel that great. So let's talk about how we can sort of deal with it once it happens in our life. Well, first of all, we have to be, I don't know about self-reflective as much as meditative. And here's what I mean by that. Sometimes self-reflection, in my experience, can turn into self-condemnation, self-affliction. But when you're doing a meditation or you're pausing and you're going within and waiting to hear, like what is it in me that may have attracted that? It may come up as nothing. It may have just been one of those life lessons that happened and you grow through it, you move through it. The lesson may be for you to learn to let it go and not take things so serious and not feel so condemned. It's so many reasons. But one of the reasons that should never be at the forefront that we allowed to come up and dominate our thoughts is us saying that there's something wrong with us. There's some fault with us. Is there something that can be transformed? Almost always. But when you're talking about self-condemnation, that's looking at yourself in a very blame way, in a way that it looks, then you feel like you can't be fixed, or you feel like you have to be fixed. And when you start going into those, down that rabbit trail, it just leads you into shame, guilt, and lack of action to transform and change anything. That's at least my experience. So I just want to come on every once in a while, have these conversations. I'm saying every once in a while, but I mean for the next 30 days. I'm just saying. I'm committed to doing that because I think that we sometimes are self-reflective, but we don't pause to meditate to hear. Because what does meditation do? It will remove all of the layers. It will get you down to your God point and help you to see yourself as you are. And when you see yourself as you really are, then it gives you the ability to walk it out with full strength and power. And so if you're really seeing the soul self, that self is thebomb.com. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's powerful. It has strength to push through and to stand up and to confront and to be face to face and be in your truth and help people be in their truth and talk it out and say to the person if the relationship means enough to you, I would say make the effort at least to reach out to find out what happened. If you feel like it's sort of a settling and it ran its course, then you can let that go. But if it keeps coming up and it's bothering you, typically it's something that needs to be transformed in you, or it's a conversation you need to have with them. I don't know. You choose. It's up to you. I'll see y'all tomorrow.